So
Yes,
tell us about, so I mean, there's so many questions, but I want to make sure we get to what we were, well,
sure.
I don't know, we could talk about so many things, but so you came and I think something else that's really interesting is when you talk about, and I know you talk about one of the things that you would recommend to people is you started on your own with your own company. Is that right?
Correct.
And
Well, it
you,
was, you know what? You could do it back then. I'm not sure I'd want to do that today, but you could do it.
well,
You
you
could do,
recommend being on teams now and working with someone who can mentor you and
yeah, I think you want to work for a company to have that
yeah.
support. And, things were different back then. And plus, I was so clueless and just just stupid and just didn't know any better. I
Yeah.
just, if I had worked, I wish I had gone to work for a company because I think it would have, my learning curve would have been so much steeper than all the trial and error that I did,
So,
for,
but that's why you're so great at speaking today. You have such a great book because you learned everything the hard way. I mean, you've made more mistakes, right? I tease you because you've told me that before.
it's,
So,
it's, you just, I didn't even sell, it took me a year to sell my first house. It took me a year and a month and 3 weeks and 2 days and 4 hours to sell my first house. I mean, it was really, really, really sad.
wow. But at least you had free rent in your dad's shop.
Yeah. And he
So,
was like I said, and he would constantly sabotage me. Because he wanted me to fail. He wanted me
wow.
to build toilet seats with him.
Wow. So what do you think it was that despite all of the challenges that were presented before you, what do you think it was that you still were able to get where you are today?
Um, I was born to be a realtor. It was not my career. It's not my job. It is my calling. And even as a little kid, everybody can talk about their childhood and all the messed up stuff that happened in their childhood, and I'm no exception to that. I have a lot of stuff I could tell you about that, but I won't. But I will tell you this. Back when I was a little kid, Cape Cod was just being developed, and they were building houses everywhere. So I had this endless supply of lumber. So I would just start building my own houses. I would build houses in the tops of trees. I would build my houses under trees. I would build my houses in the woods or in fields. And every time I was having a bad day, and things weren't going well, which was often, I would retreat into my own little space up the tree or under the tree or wherever. And when I would get inside my crudely built little house, and the sunlight would filter in through the boards and light up the grain on the wood inside, and I would smell that smell of fresh cut wood, everything became all right with my world, and I felt great again. I was in my space. And that's a feeling I've never gotten away from. And that's the feeling that I think everybody has when they come home. And when I sold my company in 2005, in the wire, my account, the very first thing I bought for a fortune was a tree house that this famous treehouse builder in California built. That I bought the tree to go with it. That I rented an 18-wheeler and brought it across the country. And I set it up in the front yard of my house. It's still there right now. And so every time I go to work today, I go by this tree house that I bought. And it's got like a hollowed out Keebler cookie elf door.
Really?
You can climb up inside the tree to get to the tree house. And it just reminds me of why I am in this business. It's why I have this passion for this business. And it is my calling. I mean, helping people find their treehouse, their little oasis from the storms of life is what I do. And in my particular case, they tend to be second or third or fourth homes for people, but it's still where they retreat, where they reconnect with their families, where they, recharge from all the beatings they take and the thing we call
Yeah.
on this earth. So that's my short story.